All right, Skeleton Crew just dropped. I just watched it. I hope you guys watched it and enjoyed it for what it is or what it was. um, Doing new stuff for the stream and everything like that. First of all, I'm not high like I was yesterday, so this will be a sober stream. Also, playing a little bit of background music. Let me know if it sounds good or bad, if it's too loud or too quiet, and I can, of course, adjust that on my end. Let me make sure everything's running properly over here on the YouTube side of things, real quick. But if you're in the chat, if you're watching this, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this first episode, two episodes of Skeleton Crew, the premiere. Just changing some stuff here on YouTube real quick. Yeah. All right, now I'm back. Um, Matt McFat, thank you for always being here, brother. He says, so I'll say this is it definitely feels like more of a passion has been put into this project. I will say, excuse me, I really didn't think this was bad at all. I thought the first episode was pretty enjoyable. I do like the almost innocence of this show so far. I love the style to this so far. I mean, looking at this and then watching something like Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, even The Acolyte. I mean, it's surprising how poor some of these other shows look compared to something like this, where actually I think it looks really well done. I thought some of the trailers might have thrown some people off and everything. Their home planets is something of controversy, but clearly there's a reason for that. The planet is called At Aden, I think, and it's like a mystery to these pirates and everything like that. It's like a luxury planet hidden with secret treasure or something like that. There's like rumors about this planet itself. I think this looks so good, and I think them focusing on this planet and kind of describing how odd it is compared to the pirates and what I guess the rest of the galaxy is like. I mean, they have Old Republic credits and like mint condition. That's kind of crazy to talk about. I mean, it's something we've never really touched on in Star Wars, and it does make the planet interesting. Oh, you have these Old Republic credits in mint condition. All right, what does that even mean for your planet? What is this at Aden place, and why is it of such significance to these pirates? Well, clearly there's a lost treasure there, and what is that treasure? And then even the supervisor, the mother of Fern, I believe is the character's name. She was she was preaching about the work or something like that, the great work or whatever the hell. So there's something afoot going on that main planet these kids are from and everything like that. Even with the pirates and everything, their interest. I mean, there's something interesting going on there. And then you have what's his name, Jude Law's character. I think it's like Jor Nawood or something like that. He is interested in this planet, and he helps the kids the second he kind of hears about it. So there's something going on with that. And I like that. I like the mystery aspect to the show so far. And I like the fact that this planet not only feels like Earth, but it looks real. I mean, Wim, the main character, this little kid right here, his room, his house, his planet at Aden, whatever, it looks great. I mean, I thought it was going to look a little corny in the actual show and everything like that. But for the most part, these look like sets that have passionate. I mean, look at everything they're driving by. I know you could say, oh, this looks too much like Earth and everything like that. Well, clearly it's intentional. But if you're thinking of like a higher society in a galaxy far, far away, that's this is what it's going to look like. I think it's fine. Um, Darth Prime 501st says he thinks it's very meh. He can't remember a character name, and that I can understand. I mean, when I can understand not remembering, or Fern, KB, and Neil, I think they mentioned a few times throughout the show. But I thought the kids were fine. The only one that I will say did kind of annoy me was Fern, the lead girl. I think it's like an act she's putting on, of course. But for the most part, I just found it a little corny and everything. But other than that, I thought the other three kids were fine. Wim, Neil, KB, I enjoy all of them for the most part. This is a very adventurous, fun, and innocent show, and it's very intentional with that choice of approach. But I like how they're exploring the galaxy. Every set and location that they visit in the show feels real, feels lived in. Even like I was talking about Wim's home, his home looks like a place a kid would live at. It looks like a nice little home for him and his dad. I think something probably happened to his mom and she passed away or something like that, because he talks about reading stories like you used to, or like my mom used to, and his dad's like, maybe you should kind of grow up or something like that. Like, aren't you getting a little old for that? It's kind of something they keep teasing with him because he's so obsessed with the Jedi and everything. Clearly, he's a reflection of us, the audience, of a lot of people when they're young and everything. Um, but I don't know, man. I disagree with you, Darth Prime. I don't think that they were annoying. I mean, maybe Fern annoyed me a little bit, but for the most part, I didn't find the kids annoying. I mean, I've seen this kind of thing on some of these reviews from people where they're like, well, clearly the show's not meant for me because it's about kids and everything. I mean, what? Do you guys not remember being children? I mean, like this weird thing that adults have where everything has to be so dark and serious and everything like that. It's nice to have fun. It's nice to have a I think it's nice to have fun with the show. I think this is a fun little adventurous show. It's clearly meant to be lighthearted, so I don't mind the kids so much so far. I don't find any problem with them. I think something like Jude Law's character is probably going to take a little bit of the limelight. Like, you do need to balance out the adult characters with these child actors, of course. I don't expect these kids to be the best actors in the world and everything like that. And like I was talking about, Fern's not my favorite. I do feel like some of the acting on her part is not, but they're kids at the same time. So it's such a fine line to go through with Star Wars right now because we've always had an issue with kids in Star Wars. But I think this is doing justice so far. Let me put a little text for the stream for Skeleton Crew at least. The reaction. But yeah, put your thoughts in the comment section. What did you guys think about this first two episodes? I will say I think the second episode was not as good as the first. The second episode's too short. There's definitely something to the length of these Star Wars shows and how short they are. I understand why they did a 2 episode premiere now, because you wanted it to feel like why. If we had waited a week to see episode 2 and it being like 30 minutes long, it's a little disappointing. Yeah, and So Wizard, I thought that was funny too. I thought that was there's a couple little, callbacks and stuff here that I think is nice. Lucas didn't want anything in the Star Wars films that could make someone feel like they were on Earth. For example, there's no shoelaces on Star Wars shoes. I understand that. I understand that, and I understand that approach. Um, it's like I've said in the other videos, or the video I uploaded today about this. It's a fine line, and you got to be very careful going with this Earth-like feel. It's clearly very intentional, and I understand that you feel like you are on Earth on this. So that is a lot of issues for a lot of Star Wars fans. A lot of people don't like that. I don't really mind it so far. I think it was nice enough. It felt different enough, yet familiar at the same time, that it didn't bother me one bit. It didn't break my suspicion of disbelief, really. Um, so yeah, Link did hurt episode 2. I do think the kids were so much better than a lot of the acolyte. I think the show, the first 2 episodes, the tone is more consistent, the style is more consistent than what you saw in the acolyte. And the acolyte, within the first 2 episodes of the show, because they dropped both at the same time, I think they both were directed by Leslie Headland. You saw it go from like, okay, this looks kind of decent, to like some of the fight scenes where you're like, God, man, this is really corny looking. Like, this is not all that great. Just this was made with more gravitas than the acolyte. I'm not sure how much this budget was for Skeleton Crew. It only being 8 episodes and it looking this well is surprising to me. I'm genuinely surprised. I mean, look at the sets. Look at all the stuff that's covering in the B-roll right now. Every little location they go to looks completely fine. It looks good, in my opinion. This is something I think you would expect to see in a movie. And apparently, Christopher Ford and John Watts did pitch this originally as a movie to Lucasfilm. So that's another trend that we have going on here of, oh, these are movies cut up in the shows. That could cause an issue. But for the most part, this looks fantastic. This was very fantastic. The opening did feel like A New Hope. That was something I put in my notes because I'm going to put a review video tomorrow about the whole thing. But yeah, the opening shots, I'll actually look at my notes right now and see what I had put for this. So I did like the opening shot because it was a callback to A New Hope. The entire opening sequence was a callback to New Hope. But the opening shot where you see the ship kind of like floating, and it has like the planet in the background that it starts covering and everything like that, that's very reminiscent of A New Hope. It looked good. It looked like they were using like an actual model instead of just CGIing everything. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's at least how it looked. And then you have the New Republic people on the ship getting boarded by the pirates, and they take their positions kind of like they did in A New Hope, and there's this big opening sequence of kind of chaos and everything like that. I like that. I really thought that was a cool opening sequence. I liked the wolf looking guy. He became the new captain. Thought that was cool. And I also thought it was cool just seeing pirates in Star Wars. I think pirates in Star Wars is actually not a bad idea. Um, if the masked pirate ain't Jude Law, then it would feel out of place. Yeah, I thought that too a little bit at the beginning. Maybe he's trying to get payback, or maybe they didn't kill him and locked him up and everything. I could see that. I 100% could see that being a small twist, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest reveal of all time. What else did I have in my notes? Oh, I did like seeing the families. I liked seeing Wim with his dad and Fern with her mom and everything, and Neil gets to go home and has a nice little family and all that stuff. It's nice to see that because it feels real. These feel like real dynamics that you have in school and in your youth and everything like that. I think that's something that's going to turn off a lot of people to the show, but it's meant to give you that family feel. I mean, how do you not remember being a kid and like Wim being obsessed with nerdy stuff like Star Wars, or wanting to go on this big grand adventure, or Fern where her mom is clearly loving her and wanting what's best for her. And when you're a kid, you're like, shut up, mom, I don't care. You're not cool. You don't know what it's like to be me," even though they know exactly what it's like to be that age. So it feels like real family dynamics, which I did not expect to have in the show. Another thing too is a Whim's story pad. That's like a new thing I think they're doing in Star Wars, and I thought that was pretty cool as well. This show did explore every location it went to in a very satisfying way. This port that we're showing right here, Port Borgo, I think is what it's called. I thought it was cool. I mean, just even all the little characters and stuff that you're seeing in this, and the bartender like giving them this weird meal, and he takes what looks like a lobster and kills it right in front of them, puts it on top of the like ramen or whatever. That's funny, and it's very Star Wars esque. They're making these locations feel like it is a galaxy far, far away. This school where they're at right now and everything, going through this little trip, all this kind of feels like the prequels in a way, where you're exploring these planets, you're showing what it's like on these planets and what life is like in this galaxy far, far away. The droid was awesome. Yes, SM-33, I think is what he's called. I really liked him. I thought the whoever the voice actor is did a great job. He's kind of got that pirate feel to him and everything. I liked how he came to save the kids. And then I don't know if he's dead or not, but they shot him in the back at the end of the second episode. So I was like, all right, well, I liked him, and then he killed him. So that's always a fun thing to have. As a teacher, I'll say the kids talking to each other sound like real kids. Yeah, that was another thing. Like even the Neil and Wim playing like lightsabers, and then all the other kids looking at them being like, "What are you doing, losers?" It's like, yep, that's kind of what it's like being a kid, especially if you're a nerd and everything like that. Them just being awkward or doing the whole claimsies thing and everything like that. It's at least from what I remember being a kid, that's how kids talk. And I used to teach karate to kids and everything like that as a job in like college and high school and everything like that. I've been around kids. They talk like this. They act like this. They interact like this with each other. There's a kind of beauty to the writing to be able to capture that innocence of being young and just a fun, adventurous aspect of it. Neil wants to go home. He wants to be comfortable again and everything like that. Fern and KB are not really interested in what's going on the planet. They kind of want to go do some fun stuff and be a little rebellious and everything like that. That's another typical thing kids do. Then you got Wim, who seeks adventure, who wants to do more in his life and everything like that. And it has an issue kind of growing up. All feels very real to me. The droid having a private voice surprised me. I liked that. I think the droid's voice actor is a fat guy from Shaun of the Dead. That would not surprise me. I can't remember the guy's name, but I know who you're talking about. 7.2 out of 10 for me. Hope it gets better. Yeah, so I'm a little mixed on what I would give this right now, because I feel like episode 2 was just too short for me, but I don't know if I want to drop it down a rating, because I think episode 1 and episode 2 are like a 7 to a 7.5 for me. So that 7.2 is actually pretty good if you're going it right down the middle and you're talking about both episodes combined. If we're going episode by episode in terms of rating, the first episode I would probably give that a 7.5, and the second episode I would give a 7. They're not bad numbers. It's just like, all right, this is enjoyable, whatever. You watch it, yeah. I think my big thing is I don't have a lot of complaints about it. 5 out of 10 for Darth Prime. I think it's just fine, to be honest, is what he's saying. And I see that, but for me, 5 out of 10 is almost too low. 5 out of 10 is like, all right, I see things that are wrong with this. I don't see anything wrong with this show so far. It's not doing enough to make me go, oh my god, this is like the Mandalorian, where it's action packed, it's fun, it's in those Star Wars beats. This might be a slow build kind of show. This is adventurous. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I didn't dislike anything. So that's why I'm giving it like a 7 out of 10, is because it's like, well, I don't really have a lot of notes for the show so far. I don't have a lot of complaints for it. A couple moments where I'm like, oh, that was a little corny, I guess, but overall, not that bad. Matt says episode one's an 8 to 9, and episode 2 is a 6 to 7. Yeah, episode 2 is definitely the weaker one. The shortness and almost it's just on that Port Borgo thing. It's a setup for what's coming up next. So it does feel like episodes 1 and 2 probably should have just been the same episode, honestly. But then you would have had an episode that's over an hour long, and who knows what episode 3 is going to be in length. Actually, I think they did have something for episode 3 in length. So episode 3 is going to be 37 minutes. The first episode was 47 minutes. The second episode was 29 minutes. Third episode is going to be 37 minutes. A little short, man. That's not a lot. That is not a lot for sure. I don't think we're going to see any hour-long episodes in this series. Looking at these first 3 episodes, looking at how quick they're kind of going by, I don't think this is going to be a very long series in terms of what you saw, like with the Penguin, where every single episode was an hour long and felt like a good, lengthy run time. Do you think Hondo is going to show up? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think you're going to see Hondo. And honestly, I don't really want to see Hondo. And not to say I don't want to see him in live action. Sometimes this stuff feels a little too forced, you know? And right now, I mean, gosh, Hondo was around in the prequels. So him surviving the original trilogy, and then this point, no, this isn't the sequel, so I guess it would make more sense him being around. But I mean, he's been around for a long time. Like at some point, you got to move on for some of these characters. I don't think you need to keep doing member berries. This show should not have any member berries at all, honestly. Some of the member berries clearly were like callbacks to A New Hope and everything like that. There's some things that are member bearing it up here. But for the most part, nah, don't bring in characters like that we know. Like if Luke showed up in this, I'd be like, this is ridiculous. Like, come on, you guys are just putting everybody in everything just to bring people into it and whatnot. So I don't really want to have Hondo in this. I don't want those kind of member berries here, or any like bounty hunters that we might like. If Cad Bane showed up in this, I'd be like, all right, you guys are going out a little too far here. Big question is going to be, of course, with Jude Law is he a Jedi? Like, truly, is he a Jedi? And I said in my prediction video, and I think I said last week on Chatooine, I don't want him to be a Jedi. I don't think we need a Jedi story in this. I think it's perfect for Wim to aspire to be a Jedi, to have a fascination with these Jedi and everything like that, but actually never really get anything with the Jedi because it is so sacred. It is a lost time and everything like that. There's not any Jedi really around. Jude Law's character, Jod, I think is his name. He should just be someone who can happen to use the Force. He's not a Jedi. He doesn't have any training at all or anything like that. But he's always had these abilities, and he's kind of worked on them over the years. But nah, no Jedi or Sithness in this. I don't think you need that in the show. So far, the piracy, adventure, Stranger Things, Goonie vibes that it has going for it, it works. You don't need to separate that with the mythological stuff with the Jedi, at least with the tone of the series so far. So, I don't know. It's solid. First episode, 7.5 out of 10. If we're just rounding it to like solid numbers and not trying to cheat the system with these 0.5, 0.2s or whatever, I would say the first one's a 7 out of 10 and the second one's a 6 out of 10. But if you're letting me cheat and use a little point system, 7.5 and 7 out of 10. I really have to see how the show ages, not even ages, how it goes through its run. I mean, we're getting one episode a week going forward. Next week's episode's 37 minutes long. I think that's going to feel a little short. I do. But I will say, even the first episode kind of felt long at some point. Like, at close to the end, I was sitting there thinking, like, okay, are they leaving the planet in this episode? Is it that? It was a big introductory episode into the tone of the show, the characters, and how they get started on this adventure, and the lives that they're living, and the lives that they're leaving, and everything, the stakes that are in this. Wim's losing his dad, basically. Neo's losing all of his family because he's not going to be able to see him until he gets back. Fern and KB are in danger and kind of biting off a lot more than they can chew. So there is stakes to this, and that's what they set up in the first episode. The second episode that we're seeing here in the B-roll is, them on this little port. It's kind of realizing, oh God, you guys are kind of not only in over your heads, you're in a lot of danger. I mean, you're kids, and there's that one lady who's trying to help them, being like, "Oh, like you're our kids. You are not supposed to be here. You got to get out of here." It all makes sense, but you got to step it up a little bit. I think with the stakes and everything, you have to not be very serious, but some of this needs a little bit more substance to it. If it's just going to be a fun, whimsical show the whole time, fine. All right, I can buy that. But from what we're seeing and everything with the combat and the action and everything like that, I do think the stakes are going to be elevated. None of the kids are going to die, of course, but if we're only doing one season, maybe Jod's going to have to die at the end of this or something. Or SM33 if he's not dead already. Let's see. If he's a Jedi survivor, if he's a Jedi, don't make him an Order 66 survivor. Way too many of those. I completely agree. I've had that argument so many times about Jedi surviving past the original trilogy. I think it's ridiculous. I think Carson Teva will eventually show up. He always shows up in the Mandoverse shows. Also, we saw X-Wings in the trailer. Damn. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't really want the... First of all, the whole Carson Teva thing, he's a fine character, but it's just... He's not, like, all that great, so I don't understand, like, why he needs to be and everything. Like, we have this thing in Star Wars now where, like, certain characters literally, like, don't really do anything or not that impactful. People are like, oh, I love that character. I want to see him in that one. I was like, why? Like Chopper. I've never understood the love for Chopper. Like, oh, Chopper's so cute. He'll kill everybody. It's like, you sound like a 8-year-old child. I don't know, man. It's just weird to me. But Carson, though, it's a different story because, like you're saying, he is in all the Mandoverse shows. But it's like a New Republic thing. I don't think he should be in this one. I don't think he should be in this one. I think you need to keep this as far away from all the other stuff as possible. It can be in the same timeline, of course, universe, connected, all that stuff. But you don't need a constant connection between all these shows. Let's see who else is saying. These kids would be Whiplash if it's a part of the Mandoverse. Yeah, I don't think it should be a part of it. They should have released all the episodes at once, in my opinion. I disagree with that. I know a lot of people want this with streaming shows and everything. No, there's something to seeing this every week. There's something to continue to build that momentum. I mean, Mandalorian season 2, it was great watching that every week. Same with season 1. Andor, slow build. That goes for 2 to 3 months of you getting constant Star Wars content. I would rather have a show like this last for about like a month or two, like it is going to, and we talk about it every week. And do we do what we're doing right now? We're talking about these past 2 episodes, thinking about what's going to happen with episode 3 next week and the rest of the series, as opposed to getting it all in one go, in one sitting. I think it allows you to be almost more critical and done with the show of, oh, that first season, it dropped 8 episodes. I didn't really like it. I did it in one sitting, and I'm just, move on. I was like, no, it's interesting to see what happens every week. I really like that. I also appreciate Jude Law's reveal. It wasn't him whipping out a lightsaber. Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't want anything too fancy. I didn't think it was that impactful, honestly. I was not expecting more. It fit with the tone of the show, the way they introduced his character, but it's not what I was expecting, really. You don't really get anything from him. It's just the second they got into that cage, I was like, oh yeah, they're about to introduce Jude Law's character. It's very reminiscent of The Last Jedi. Speaking of the fucking Last Jedi, Goldman says it was awesome. I don't know if I'd say awesome, but I liked it. Yeah, like it was good. It was good, and not great, not perfect, but just good. This is a good show so far. Fun, adventurous, just solid. Um, Off topic, I really hope Cal doesn't show up in a Disney Plus show. I'm the same way. Cal Kestis is a solid character. You got to kill him in the 3rd game, though. I mean, he's got to go out like in a sacrifice way or something. I'm big on these Jedi just dying like flies before the original trilogy happens. But yeah, Cal needs to not be in something like this because yet again, that's too big of a. It's too big of a jump from video game to series and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, you got to play Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order to understand all of this. It would kill my hype for the 3rd Jedi game. So yeah, no, if they introduced Cal, it would be after the 3rd Jedi game, but I don't think they're going to introduce him at all into live action like that anytime soon. If ever, honestly, I don't think they're ever going to do that. I don't think they should. But yeah. But back to Skeleton Crew. Solid episode. 1, decent episode 2. I'm looking forward to what happens. You definitely got my interest with the treasure stuff and at Atkin. So that's is it at Addens? No, it's at Atten, or is it just Atten? It's a little weird that it's at Atten. You know, is that a play on at? But it's at Atten. Anyways, that's gonna get annoying to say at Atten. Does that sound stupid to you? That sounds stupid to me. But anyways, um, that is an interesting concept. There's a lost treasure on this planet. Clearly, there's something going on with like whoever's running it. There's this barrier that's keeping them in. They say that no ship is allowed. The droid says to the dad, Wim's dad, that like no ship is allowed to enter or leave. So there's something fishy going on there. That's why I think there's not a big deal about this planet being like Earth, because it's clearly manufactured in some type of way. And also, huge tiebacks to the Old Republic here. It's a lot of tiebacks to the Old Republic. These credits that Wim has that he got from his dad, it's like lunch money for the week. The pirates are like, oh, this is mint condition Old Republic credits. That's interesting. Like, because that's the first time, at least in the new canon that I can remember, that we really touch on the Old Republic, and you actually have something physical, like an actual physical item from the Old Republic. These credits. So how does this planet have all these credits in supply like that? And what is this planet's connection to the Old Republic? What is this treasure that they're talking about? Why is adding a myth? And if it is a myth, how did they get there and form a society and everything like that? Like, what's going on with the history of it? It's a little like Attack on Titan, the place that Aaron Yeager's from and everything. I can't remember the name of it. Is it the Eldian versus the Marleyan Empire? And I think they're from Eldia. I don't know, and I don't care. But anyways, this planet at Aden is such a fucking funny name. At Aden. So it sounds like Atkins. It sounds like a bonus plan to Atkins. At Atkins. Atkins Plus. At Aden. Fuck. Yeah, but I buy it. I buy it. It's a catchy name. It definitely sticks with you. Out of the kids, who's your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Who's your favorite out of the kids? I gotta say, so far it's Neil, man. Neil is not only adorable, he's funny. He reminds you of like every best friend that you had when you were young, like that. He's just a happy-go-lucky little guy. He makes a joke about his trunk. He's like, I don't talk out of my trunk, so you know. I think you see his mouth like once or twice. And that was one thing I was a little concerned about with his character, is like him constantly talking. I was like, are we gonna see his mouth move ever, or are they gonna like kind of keep that hidden so it's not like too obvious? Oh, Paradise Island. Thank you. But is this show better than Droids and Ewoks? Listen, I know I'm a diehard Star Wars fan and all, but I've actually never seen Droids and Ewoks. I've also never seen the holiday special. I've seen so many clips of the holiday special, but it's one of those things where it's so bad it's good. It's not the case with holiday special. The holiday special is so bad it's just genuinely bad. So no, I've never really watched it. But yeah, no, Neil's the goat. Neil's the goat for fucking sure. I love Neil. The main girl was annoying. Yeah, I hope they do more with her character, or maybe like she doesn't do this whole like cool girl vibe thing, because they're going for this whole Stranger Things Goonie aspect. But the thing with the Stranger Things show is the characters do feel real. I think Mad Max is like the cool girl in that show. She feels like a more real character than Fern in this, at least from the cool aspect. I don't know if she's trying too hard and that's gonna go away eventually, but yeah, I found her fine and interesting in the first couple scenes that she was in, but after a little bit, I was like, "Dang, bro, like you're kind of annoying me here, Fern. I need you to be a little less of trying to be cool, like the whole lying to the kids and then banging on the door to scare them and all that stuff. Some of it I just was not a fan of. SN West Spacer says, not diss on the Clone Wars for the record. Arcane nails it when it comes to animation quality, something the Lucasfilm is lagging behind, especially character aspects. I mean, that's an animation thing. I mean, this is a live action show, clearly. I don't know. I mean, Arcane's animation style I thought was fine. It's not really my cup of tea, though. I think I saw the part of the first season. I think my ex girlfriend was like really into that show, and I tried it. I watched a couple episodes with her, and I was like, it's the animation's cool. It's an artistic style. It's just not my cup of tea personally. Clone Wars I thought was a good animation style, especially the original one with Tarkovsky. The 3D one is good. The first two seasons were definitely rough, but as it got older and as time went on, the animation got a lot better. So I don't really have a problem with Lucasfilm animation. I don't like Rebels, um, even down to the animation style. I think Rebels looks really bad, but it was a choice, I think. But I don't know. Arcane's a different show. Arcane is definitely a different show. I fell asleep watching season two. I think you're talking about Stranger Things. Season two was definitely not the best. Um, I have Star Wars Online. I've gone to Batu East 3 times in my life, and every time Doc Ondor isn't working, can I get compensation? Batu East. That's where I'm at, right? That's Orlando. Doc's not working. I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge in a couple years at this point, I think, but that surprises me. Actually, you would think they'd put the money into that to fix Homeboy. I can't believe you've been 3 times, and you know, did you do the hotel? I mean, that you might have got a nice little experience there for like $5,000. Let's see what else. The only flaw I have with Arcane is I showered instead of playing League. I've never played League of Legends, but I've heard a lot about it. I'll give it another go. Arcane. Hey, y'all tell me if you like it or not. I have not been a big fan of Arcane. If season three or what just came out, season two just came out. If it's good, let me know. Just not haven't given it a full try yet. For Arcane, season one is better because it's easier to follow. I believe that. You've been to Batu 3 times. I will say, as a fellow Batu traveler and someone who's got a lot of experience with the Galaxy's Edge, Rise of Resistance is great. The Smuggler's Run ride is not good. It is a one and done. I mean, it's very cool to see everything in Galaxy's Edge, but Galaxy's Edge, if you guys haven't been, it's a glorified Star Wars shopping mall, and you get like cool Star Wars products in like there's like a little area, like a trading post that they have, but it's so small and there's so many people there. And while it's a beautiful place and everything, it's so much better when there's nobody there. I went one time, it must have been maybe 5 to 6 a.m. in the morning, maybe 7. I can't remember. But it was around the time when like the sun would rise really early, like 6 to 7 a.m. So I'm in Galaxy's Edge mad early. Nobody's there. There's like maybe 3 or 4 of us when we're walking around. And it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful having the sunrise and everything, having the whole place by yourself. And then they were filming a commercial when I was there too. I was walking through the area, and right around where the Millennium Falcon is at, they had a commercial team there doing the set and everything. And uh, I think you probably have seen the commercial too for Galaxy's Edge, like the one with like the kids and the mom or dad like walking up to Millennium Falcon. That's the one they were filming at the time. So that was really cool to see. And then you would think inside the Millennium Falcon that there's like a little ramp that some of the characters go in and out of and everything. You would think that there would be anything in there. From what I've heard from like 3 or 4 people who've actually been inside of it, there's absolutely nothing, which I thought was funny and kind of disappointing. But then after, when I saw them setting up the film stuff and everything like that, the person who I was with was like, "Hey, I know you've been on Rise of Resistance, but have you been on Smuggler's Run yet?" I was like, "No, I'd love to go on." And they took us, and they showed us like the Chewie mode and all that stuff. So it was really cool to get to see all that stuff around the time the park was opening, if not right before, I believe. But Galaxy's Edge is beautiful. It's just not only expensive, it's not worth it, man. You went 3 times, Brick Master G. That's a lot, brother. I went many times because I live in Orlando, you know? But Galaxy's Edge is cool. It's just not what it should be, and it's not as good as it should be. Let's see what the chat's saying, though. Let's get back to this. Cried watching season 2. We're all talking about Arcane now. They're gonna make more shows in that universe. Oh, you're probably talking about Arcane still, yeah. Yeah, no, this was a fine little show. They don't have a stormtrooper shooting gallery. Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have a lot of stuff in Galaxy's Edge that they should. Wonder why they don't have OT or PT stuff. I think that's Kathleen Kennedy, man. I think they had a thing years ago where Kathy said she didn't want to build on the old memories of Star Wars. The goal was to build on the new stuff, like the sequels. And they try to do a lot of tie-in stuff with Batu. I mean, they had books. There was a I don't know if the character is still there, but at least when I was going to Galaxy's Edge a lot, there's a character named Bai. It was this like This sounds so bad. It was like this black chick with like blue hair. It sounds so bad now. When you say this stuff, people are gonna be like woke, 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 and I'm not saying it because of that. But anyways, yeah, Vi was like a character there. No one knows who the fuck Vi is. I don't care. I could not even remotely tell you what Vi does as a character or what her character traits are. But she was there a lot. What else were they doing at Galaxy's Edge that was interesting? They were so hell bent on not having it based on any of the eras and having it like made in canon. Vi's still there? Get the fuck out. What? So what they would do too is let's say, oh sorry, the B-roll pause. By the way, as you can tell, I don't have the greatest production quality here. It's just a little B-roll footage on my media player. But yeah, with when you're at Rise of Resistance, this is back in the day. I don't know if they still do this, but if the ride would go down, which it did often and probably still does today, but when it opened, they did an early open. They opened it way too early. They were not supposed to open it when they did, but they wanted to because they wanted to have it open when the park opened. Didn't have it by then, so they opened it a couple months later. Still was not ready. So the ride would go down all the time, and if you were in line for the ride, they would, be like, "Hey, it's gonna be a delay. Sorry about that. Whatever." They would literally send out like Chewbacca, Vi, Ray, um, mate was Kylo Ren one of them? I don't think Kylo Ren was. But yeah, they would send out characters to, give you popcorn and stuff in the line. It was kind of cool. It was a nice attempt to make it better about the wait and everything, and they would do it a lot because boy, those rides went down all the time. You went in summer, late summer. I saw with Ray. I don't think I can't remember the last time I went there. Summer's a busy time to go, though. If I'm being honest, if you guys ever want to go to Galaxy's Edge or Disney World in general, take it from someone who lives in the area. Go in August. The second that week school starts, you can go because not only will be less busy, probably a little cheaper. I think October is a less busy month as well. But with Galaxy's Edge, you definitely want to kind of get a experience of it where there's not that many people there. I feel like it's a lot better to enjoy it. They should have done a web series for Galaxy's Edge. They did something about like the like a documentary about the behind the scenes of making and everything. It's on Disney Plus. I haven't seen it yet. I think they even did one for Rise of Resistance and Star Tours on like behind the attraction, another series. Stuff like that I actually do find interesting. And Galaxy's Edge is such like a missed opportunity. One thing I always kind of fantasized about when I moved out here is because not only is my Star Wars Instagram page big, I was like, yo, I got the Star Wars land right here. I could just show up every day to Galaxy's Edge and just take pictures, record content, put it up on Instagram or whatever, YouTube, and talk about Galaxy's Edge. I didn't really get to do that. I just, Disney's a lot of money, man, and I'm not paying for an annual pass. I mean, you could work there and go in for free, but then you got to work there to go in for free. It's just, there's a lot. So, Galaxy's Edge was a missed opportunity, and they should have done more with it to get people into it. Maybe they should have done like an animated show or something. They should have done something to make it bigger, because the characters don't really have anything of interest because it's not in a timeline that would make sense. Like Din Djarin's there now, which damn, I've never been there since he came in, or Boba Fett. I think Boba Fett was only in the California one. And I would love to see those guys in person. That was really cool. Oh, Galaxy's Edge is in Sims as well. That actually was not a bad idea. I think I hope that was well. I didn't play it. I don't play Sims. I haven't played Sims in God knows how long. Vi was in Star Wars. Vi is the chick that they made for Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars has so many mass characters to make using park actors easy. That is true. That is very true. That is very, very true. A lot of people over there in Galaxy's Edge just freaking sweating like crazy in that heat. They only do it for like 30 minutes though, normally. I remember when I went in late summer, the characters I saw were Rey, Kylo, Chewie, Vi, Mando, and Grogu, and the Stormtroopers. I wonder if the Death Troopers are still around, because I remember they would have Death Troopers walk around sometimes. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know if it was specifically for Galaxy's Edge, but they definitely had Death Troopers walking around. R2D2 and C3PO a couple times. Darth Vader for sure, and a lot of Stormtroopers. But I have not seen Mando and Grogu. I've seen Chewie a couple times, Kylo and Rey, of course, Vi. You got those Imperial officers who walk around with the Stormtroopers as well. And if you watch the Stormtroopers too, you'll notice they do certain things with their hands to activate the voice and all that stuff. Like they're not actually saying these things. These are all pre-recorded lines and everything like that. Um, they did have a VR game for Galaxy's Edge. I remember seeing that, but I've never played that. Have you been to the Star Wars exhibition? I don't know what that is. Let me look that up. I don't think I have. Star Wars exhibition. The Fans Strike Back. Star Wars a fan exposition or expedition. What the fuck? Oh, okay. It's in a couple places. Let's see. Let's explore this a little bit, guys. I want to see. Let me see if I can share my screen here, or a window at least. Where are we at? Oh, Chrome tab. Sorry, you guys gotta remember I'm a little old. No, which is a lie. I'm not old at all. The Fans Strike Back, an original experience by EMS Entertainment, and in association with Fever Media Partner, Secret Media Network. All right. I don't have a city. I'm in Orlando. What the fuck? What's close to me? London, Melbourne, or Santa Monica? Probably Santa Monica. Let's look at the exhibition. Unlike any other in the galaxy, explore one of the largest private Star Wars collections made by fans for fans, hundreds of unique collectibles and figurines, life-size figures and famous costumes, more than 30 one-of-a-kind sculptures, 40 years of passionate work, armor, lightsabers, blasters, helmets, masks, and more. Relive your favorite scenes from the saga, plunge into the Star Wars universe, and enjoy plenty of photo opportunities. Thanks to this exhibit's amazing sets and decor, take a selfie with many life-size sculptures, a photo sitting on the Emperor's throne, or use a green screen to take pictures of selected Star Wars themed backgrounds. Is this all like real and permanent? This looks pretty fucking cool. The collection showing showcasing hundreds of unique collectibles, sculptures, life-size figures, lightsabers, blasters, and more. The Fan Strike Back it takes guests on a journey in both sides of the Force. Yeah, the little Anakin's pod racer, practical info. 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's not a lot of time. I mean, I guess. I wonder. So, how does this work? You just show up like a normal museum, or do you have to actually get tickets? Oh, let's see. Get your tickets. All right, that took me to another screen. Never mind. I'm not gonna. How much does this cost, though? The collection practical. Okay, this is website is the website. I'm not a fan when websites do this shit. Private booking. It'd be kind of cool to get a private booking. I don't know. Let me know how much that cost. That could be something I do if I decide to travel the world again one day. I am going to Tokyo this upcoming year for the fucking celebration as well. So that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. All right, put this bad boy back and get rid of the fucking Star Wars exhibition. That does look cool though. I would definitely try that out. I don't know how much it is, but I would definitely try it out. The little droids from Fallen Order look cool. Aren't they walking around the park? I think they are now. Yeah. And that's another thing they were trying to do with Galaxy's Edge originally is they actually wanted to have a lot more interactiveness. They wanted to have characters walking around a lot more. They wanted to have drones flying around, droids and everything like that. But because they had Bob Chapek as head of the parks at the time before he became CEO, he was one of those people who did a lot of the budget cuts that ended up not having almost anything in the parks that was originally planned. They should have just hired the 501st Legion people. They'd almost do it for free. I think they 100% would, and I think that's actually not a bad idea. But because it's Disney, there's so many protocols that go into this stuff that I don't think they'd want to deal with it. What they do with people like the Stormtrooper cast members, is what you call them, or the Death Trooper people, whoever does like even the princesses, what they normally do is let's say it's 11 o'clock. You're gonna go out for 30 minutes, meet and greet, whatever. Maybe it's an hour. I don't know, but normally it's about 30 minutes. After that, you get like a 20-minute break because it's hot, bro. You got so much stuff on you and everything like that. You got to unwind and everything. So they're well treated. They just don't have a lot. So whatever. Close your taxes tab first. I didn't even know I had that up, but you guys can enjoy my no money. I do miss the March of the First Order they used to have. They used to do a lot of cool stuff. They had one where they had a stage where all of these Star Wars characters would literally come up, and it'd be like some like action stuff or whatever. But it was just kind of cool. But it would be all the characters from like different eras and everything like that. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember watching like the very, very last one. This was back in like 2020, right before COVID happened. So they got rid of a lot of the stuff like that. Another thing I love too that they did in Disney World was what was it called? Star Wars weekends, where all of Hollywood studios would become Star Wars themed, and the entire weekend would be about Star Wars. I thought that was so cool. Let's see, Fan Strike Back, it looked pretty dope. Yeah, I tried joining the 501st Legion, but I can't afford or make good enough costumes. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I think cosplaying is kind of cool and everything, but the leaders of the 501st people, like the higher ups who like started everything, awesome people. It's all about charity. It's all about giving back. It's all about Star Wars. It's really cool. Some of the people below, though, the people you'd find in like your local, what do you even call it, chapter, um, super weird. Some of these people, I've met a lot of 501st people at the conventions. Some of them take it into like a cool kids group elitist thing, and that always annoys me. I'm like, yo, bro, we're all nerds here. You ain't cool for dressing up as a stormtrooper, and everything. But like the goal of the 501st, the mission and everything like that, beautiful. I absolutely support them and everything. I think it's a great organization. Some of those people, god dang, I've met people who are like, I'm the lieutenant of the Ohio faction. And I'm like, what? Okay, cool, whatever. A few of them were at my friends' weddings. I think it'd be cool to have a Star Wars themed wedding. But if I ever did one, it'd be the place that Anakin and Padme got married and everything. The fireworks Star Wars show was so cool. I remember that too. I don't think they do that anymore either. I think they stopped that in 2020 as well. But I remember seeing that almost every other week when I first moved out here in 2020. I was like Disney all the time, and Galaxy's Edge was super cool. But they did have this fireworks show thing right before I think they did the main fireworks show at like Magic Kingdom or something like that. God, it was so cool. They used to do a lot of cool Star Wars stuff for Star Wars at Disney World, and for Galaxy's Edge now it's just kind of become a, oh yeah, by the way, we own Star Wars thing. It's not that big of a deal anymore. I think it's just a general film fireworks show now. Yeah, no, they don't do anything. They also got rid of the Great Movie Ride, which always disappointed me. That Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that's pretty cool, but Hollywood Ride, the Great Movie Ride, that one was iconic for a reason. But Disney doesn't want to pay for those licenses and everything like that. But yeah, I think this is a good point to kind of end the stream and everything like that. Thank you all for tuning in. Just wanted to come in, give a quick little reaction to Skeleton Crew and everything, to talk about it with you guys. I'll have my review out tomorrow, and then Wednesday night I will be doing the whole breakdown on the Chatooine Show with everybody. So be sure to check that out. And like I said, tomorrow review for the first two episodes will be up, and then not next week. It won't be on Monday because this episode dropped on Monday, but next Tuesday, when the third episode drops, I'll be covering it on here immediately. We're going to be doing these instant live stream reactions right after, just to get back into the swing of things with Star Wars for me and for everybody else. So thank you all for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow for a normal video, Wednesday night for Chatooine, and then next Tuesday we'll do another stream. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next week, and may the force be with you always.